These are the voyages of SV Prism. The crew on board are searching for exotic landscapes and foreign cultures as they sail their 33-foot sailboat beyond horizons.
We left Evaristo with flat seas and no wind, making good time to our next anchorage, Napoleone. Napoleone lies at the base of the Sierra de la Giganta mountain range, and as you approach this area, the desert lets go into steep rock mountains. Unlike other anchorages in the sea, Napoleone has black sand versus white, thus giving the water a dark look versus the aqua blue we have been accustomed to. With calm conditions, we decided to once again use the red paddle boards and explore the rock walls that come crashing into the sea. At first, you may think the water is not as clear, but if you focus, you can actually see the subtle details on the seafloor. With an abundance of life above and below the water, we floated in awe, glancing back at Little Prism bobbing at anchor at the base of these impressive cliffs. While we were paddleboarding, the wind started to pick up, so we paddled back to the boat and got ready to make the short 20 nautical mile sail to Tambache. So this is what you call perfect sailing. We have the spinnaker up, it's blowing probably 7 knots. Absolutely beautiful, no swell, no traffic, almost a blue sky. It's kind of nice because it's not too hot. Beautiful mountain range behind us. Which doesn't get much better than this. We got lucky, and the light wind held out, letting us ghost the 20 miles to Tambache. One of the many benefits of cruising the Sea of Cortez is the proximity of the anchorages to one another. The common belief is that you must motor everywhere. But if you have patience and large light wind sails, you can sit back and sail while enjoying the views of this truly unique and wild place. John's down there retrieving what's left of the other half. There she is. That smacked the back of my leg. There we go. That's definitely gonna leave a mark. Cruising guides are very helpful, but sometimes you can look at the chart and find your own anchorage that makes more sense for you. In the case of Tambache, the main anchorage is located in a small north hook on the coastline, but with calm conditions and a slowly sloping sand bottom, we decided to anchor near the place and the reason we were there for, Casa Grande. sand was hot. So hot, in fact, that it started to melt the glue out of our sandals. Moving fast, we made it off the beach and onto the road into the town.
The entrepreneur side of me would think that buying some land up here cheap and creating a giant outdoor and indoor soundstage that we specialize in Western, landscapes. It doesn't get much better.
Topography from Red Dead Redemption.
This is the topography from Red Dead Redemption. And for people that don't know what that is, that's a video game that takes place in the West. It's kind of arousing that my girlfriend actually said that.
Casa Grande has a unique history. Originally built for a local pearl fisherman who found a monster 5-carat pearl. After receiving much less than fair market value for the pearl in La Paz, the fisherman still made a small fortune by 1920s Mexico standards. With his newfound money, the fisherman bought a fleet of fishing boats and built Casa Grande. There, he and his family did quite well for themselves. It's rumored the children of this fisherman left Tambache, and with no one around to do maintenance on the grand house, it slowly rotted away. Now all that stands is the skeleton of a once great house. The rest of the town in Tambache has yet to change since the turn of the century. We swore we were on a Western movie set, and at any moment we were ready to see the Duke, Roy Rogers, or Eastwood ride in over the sun-bleached desert and have a shootout with the bad guys in the middle of town. We were soon running out of water, so we decided to head back to the sun-beaten beach and make our way back to Prism. Our next stop was only 3 miles away, so we decided to head out for an afternoon sail. Our sail started out slow and continued to get slower, with a sailing speed around a half a knot. We would have started the engine, but we were too enthralled with all of the sea life around us. As we ghosted to Los Gatos, we were met with a school of dolphins, and as soon as they passed, we started spotting large manta rays. It was really our first experience with such a large school of rays. With our engine off and Prism barely making any headway, we were able to get very close to these graceful creatures. Manta rays are beautiful large rays that feed on plankton, shrimp, and krill. The largest manta recorded comes in at 23 feet tip to tip. Most of these mantas around the boat were 4 to 8 feet, with a few in the 10 to 12 foot range. Sadly, in the sea, local fishermen catch and sell manta rays to restaurants. You can find manta on almost every menu in La Paz. In many places around the world where there are more people and more diving, locals are starting to ban the fishing of mantas. This is not because they feel bad about the fishing of the creature, but rather interested in the dollar and cents. A dead manta is worth $40 to $500 in marketable meat, but it is calculated that one manta ray will bring in over $1 million of tourism cash over its lifetime. Los Gatos is known for its beautiful red rock formations. While we were visiting, the sky was overcast, so the rocks never really showed their true colors, but it was still very impressive. Shell collecting, or better known as beachcombing, is one of my favorite pastimes. And in Los Gatos, the southern anchorage gave me some of my favorite shells to this day. We had gotten word that strong north winds were scheduled to show up soon. So instead of crowding in with the other boats in the north anchorage, we decided to spend one night and head off to San Telmo in the morning. We arrived to Punta San Telmo just as the wind started to blow. During the winter months, cold fronts from North America come down and get funneled into the sea. With over 500 miles of fetch to allow the waves to build, when a norther comes in, you stay put and hold on. Lucky for us, Telmo was a hidden gem to be stuck at. With no crowds and red rock that rivaled Los Gatos, Telmo was a safe and comfortable place to wait out the weather. With the great Overlook Trail, we spent days exploring the different spurs it had to offer. Once over the hill that forms the point, the trail opens up to a huge beach. This was a beachcomber's paradise, with truly too many shells to look at. Sadly, the lack of traffic to this beach was evident by the raw amount of trash on the beach. Everything from porta potties and spools of line to buckets of used motor oil. The poor beach was truly littered. We took a stab at collecting the large items in a 10 by 10 area, just to try to get an image of how much trash occupied the entire beach. The result was staggering. Back on the other side, Telmo also offers great tide pools that are full of life at low tide. This combination of activities is the key to staying sane while waiting for fair weather.
I am making my first batch of cookies in my life. And of course I've picked the roughest day to do it. It's more like cookie batch gymnastics. I think I'm burning all the calories I'm about to intake by eating these cookies by trying to make them and trying to stay upright in this really rocky anchorage.
It's good? That's good, John. Yeah.
Get my best Rust-Oleum spray paint spray right there.
I'm gonna I'm gonna Hawkeye the baking aspect of this so they don't burn like they normally do. After this much work, I couldn't, it's a travesty to let them burn. You know?
John is experiencing the joys of a boat oven. The flukiness of how gentle you have to be with the door, because if you slam it like he did before, it puts it out. Hopefully. So now while I was baking, you know what you do?
Clean it.
You put everything away.
Just for the record, my first batch of cookies turned out great. So we're at the base of the mast right here. We were just messing around with lines, and I listened to our base or our mast winches, and they sound pretty crappy. So I'm gonna service them really quick. It's a good thing to do. Pretty much should do it more often than I do, obviously, because mine sound like crap right now.
With the winches serviced, it was time to move on. So we kicked on the engine and motored up to our next anchorage. On our way to Bahia San Marta, we were passing a landscape that could have just as easily been painted. With flat seas, taking your time and soaking in the scenery is quite enjoyable. Once we were at anchor, we immediately jumped into the water. This bay was full of life and I was ready to try my hand at spearfishing. With water temperature slowly rising as we went deeper into the sea, snorkeling without a wetsuit was finally possible. When fishing near big outcroppings like this, the loss of fishing lures skyrockets. The bigger fish that you catch will take the lure and your line under these jagged rocks and thus cutting the line in the process. Spearfishing takes a bit more skill and coordination, but allows you to pick out your target. Using a pole spear is the most simple technique, but also requires you to get the closest. After some practice, I was able to skewer dinner. After a great fish dinner, we laid out on the foredeck, taking in the amazing cliffs that surrounded us. Looking forward to exploring shore the following day, we went to sleep early. But little did we know, sleep was not to be had.
The bad part about this anchorage is it's really considered a fair weather anchorage only. The one weather report we got was that it was supposed to be pretty mellow. And right now it's probably blowing about 10 to 15 outside. It was blowing a lot more earlier. Kind of went to damage control there for a while. It's a pretty rough ride in Prism right now. Shannon is actually getting sick from just the swaying anchorage or anchor, which I've never seen before. It's raining outside. It's been raining for the last couple hours now. And we just went through a pretty good deluge. There's been a lot of lightning, some pretty good thunder, but you can see how much everything's moving around in here. It actually feels like it's calming down. I'm not just saying that because it's on camera, but I haven't seen lightning in a while. Oh, there was a good flash. Hey. Of course, today was the day I took off all the Dodger windows, so what normally would be a very weatherproof little area to watch everything outside is now a very wet area. So, that reminds me, is all the books inside? So our Sean and Heather non-waterproof cruising guide they got soaked. So let's see how that recovers. It's funny, most of the people's copies I see are always soaked as well, or like have been soaked. They're all kind of falling apart. So now ours is truly cruisified.
Next time on SV Prism. We find out that Bahia San Marta is what dreams are made out of, making our top 5 list of favorite anchorages ever visited. Then we move up to Agua Verde, where we take the tour of the local petting zoo and attempt to buy goat cheese.
Kitties.
Then it's off to Puerto Escondido, which is nestled up to the cute and historic town of Loreto. Meeting up with the first cruisers we had seen for weeks, we head into town to reprovision for the first time in months. We'd like to thank our supporters on Patreon and the kind souls that donate to keep these videos coming. If you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/svprism. This money goes to continue shooting and editing this show. If you want to see up-to-date posts and pictures, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, or visit svprism.com. Until next time, fair winds and following seas.